Part of me thinks, should I just close my business? You know what I'm saying? I,
Do you want to close your business? Are you
no,
passionate about your business?
I
Okay.
am. I love what I
Okay,
do.
then
I love what I do. I get frustrated, obviously, as we all do.
yeah.
But, I think I joke with you all the time. I just love designing pretty things.
So what's the problem we're going to be looking at? Is it going to be along the lines of should you go to talk to these businesses in the local town?
I guess, what am I doing wrong, perhaps, to communicate the value of the skill set that I bring?
How about something like what are you doing to currently communicate the value of the website? And then we can see what you're doing, what's in your past that's making you communicate this way, your fears, your hopes, your expectations, their input, what they're hearing from it.
So when I first have dialogue or a meeting or something with a potential client, the question tends to be, how much does a basic website cost? Well, you and I both know there's,
Yeah.
you explain to them, I
How
give
long's a
you
piece of string?
like at some point I tell them that my minimum used to be, and now I waffle on that. And I know part of that is because I have imposter syndrome. But I think what happens is I ask people, do you have a budget? And how many people always say to me, 98%, well, I don't have a budget. I don't know what my budget is. And then I typically will say, based on what elements they want incorporated into the scope of work and into the scope of the project. If they come back with a budget, I will typically push back and say, I think, you need to stretch your budget a little bit, or we can always phase things in. We can always say, okay, what are your must-have elements? We can do that for phase one, and then your wish list, and we can do that for phase two. And if we need to do a phase three, we can do phase three.
What
But
Steve does is he lists all the items on it, and there's a price for each of the items. So if they quibble, they're like, well, what do you want to remove?
okay, yeah,
That's what I helped him do. And his sales took off for quite a lot after that.
okay.
So you have your homepage, you have your newsletter, opt-in, etc. Yeah, list out all the things. So which one do you not want to do?
Right. Not communicating the value of my expertise that's
Yes.
associated with the dollar amount.
Okay, so we've got to get you explaining yourself better. Just trying to think which spread I want to do on this. I could do a how to explain yourself better, but I'm thinking that is assuming, therefore, that you're not explaining yourself well. So if we do a look at explaining yourself exactly as you do, what's the outcome with a client? And if you change how you explain what's the outcome with a client, I think that might be the best way forward. So let's start with that. So this or that. So the way you currently explain, currently with an ly, explain, and we're going to go the pros of it. So what you're getting right, the cons, which is going to be the bit that you could explain better, that isn't landing with your client, is the way it is. So it's not landing. They're not understanding it. And that one's the do right. So the pros, the cons, the what you need to change. So how to do differently, what you need to get the courage to do this differently.
Mhm.
What you need to get courage. And then we're going to do a fourth one, which is steps, the action steps. These are the specific action steps you need to take to explain it differently. Okay, so let's just start with that, and then we can work out what you're doing, or what it would be if you took those action steps. Okay, does that sound like a good idea to you? Okay, okay, so pros. You are really good at being in the flow with it. You're good at getting all the information out there. It's just flowing out of you to everything they have. You explain everything. You're putting all of the bits in, like the little plus symbol, plus by plus,
Okay.
about as close as I can get it.
Yeah.
This card is a lot about emotions as well. So you are overflowing with the emotional side of it rather than the data side of it. okay?
Mm.
Which is good. You are, from the sounds of it, explaining what they're going to get out of it, the emotional side of what they're going to get out of. You know, you're going to feel safe with your website because I'm doing security and so on. I think that's what you're bringing in, and that's a good thing. And you are doing it in a very pure way, as in you're not giving them typical marketing speak of like, you know,
Right.
there's
Very
a
much so.
limited number of these, you know, even though they're a digital product, you know, sort of, you know, that kind of rubbish. Yeah. You're keeping it very pure, very basic, very, this is what you're going to get. I'm not saying you're not being too technical, but you are being very open with everything
Mhm.
that you are telling them. Okay.
Mhm.
And very pure, and there's no like ulterior motives around anything.
Right.
Okay. And that this is what they're getting from it as well. Okay. So the cons, what's not landing? Ooh, we got the tower. Okay. So what's not landing is they're not understanding the bad side of this. So they are not understanding, I think, from this, your maintenance plans, why the heck they should have maintenance. I don't think they're understanding fully the security, the backups, the all the stuff that isn't actually on a page that they can physically see.
Mhm.
That's what I think is not landing. They are seeing the logo, they're seeing the homepage, they're seeing the about page, they're seeing the call me now button, but they're not seeing the behind the scenes work. And
Right.
I don't think they therefore value that. And that's what's not landing. They're like, what the hell's all this crap? Why do I need
Right.
this?
Right.
That's what I think you're not explaining in a way
Okay.
that they're getting from this. So, what you need to get the courage to do to be different. The Wheel of
Fortune. Yeah.
Fortune first. What you need to get the courage to do is you need to put on the bad side and go, if you don't have the maintenance package, you're going to be coming back to me in like a year's time with a hacked website. If I don't back it up, I'm going to then turn around and tell you, well, what do you want me to do about it? I don't have a copy. You've got to be the bad person and actually lay out the what is going to go wrong if they don't get the bits that they can't see.
But I do have a couple of different documents, and I have
Okay.
conversations with them about this that breaks it
Okay.
down. And I also point out that that would be irresponsible of me, and I would never want to compromise my own integrity, nor would I want a client to compromise their integrity with their customers or endanger their customers from visiting a website that they could potentially contract some sort of virus. But I wonder if it's too much above their heads. And
It is the way you said that, there's no being the bad guy. Yeah, you got to lay it out in terms of if you don't get this, it's going to be a matter of time. Don't know how long, but could be months before somebody else owns your website because it's been hacked. And you've just spent $5,000 to give somebody else a website. That's the kind of way you got to lay it out. You've got to play that bad guy, which I know you're not comfortable doing, by the way. I
right.
don't want to compromise my integrity. That's all about
Right.
you. It's not about
Mm,
them. Yeah.
mm,
I
yeah.
don't want you to waste your money because if you don't get it maintained, in 6 months' time, somewhere around there, your website will be hacked and you'll be calling me going, why isn't my website working? Lay it out for them, paint the picture. It's not sleazy, it is truth.
Right.
With a WordPress website, it will get hacked if you don't maintain it.
Right.
Period. You
Mm,
know? Yeah. So you've got to get the courage to be the bad guy here and
okay.
actually give them the downside of WordPress because you know if you've done a straight HTML website, they wouldn't have to deal with this. But you know, we're not. We're giving them a WordPress website. So you've got to lay out in terms that they can understand, words of one syllable kind of thing. This is the downside of having a website. It's going to cost you for maintenance because if you don't, you may as well just flush the $5,000 down the toilet now and not bother with a website.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think I also need to be a bad guy with my fees.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to have boundaries and stick up for yourself with your fees.
Yeah.
That is what you're worth. And if
Right.
you know that inside, you energetically project that and they don't bat an eyelid. Yeah. You would never go up to Laura and say, I'm not paying your 600 pounds,
Right.
$600 an
Right.
hour
Right.
because they
Pay
know
me
they're worth it. Okay,
Mm.
gotta be bad guy. That's what you got to get the courage to do. You've got to be that bad guy and give them the truth. You don't have to do it from an emotional point of view. You don't
Mhm.
have to manipulate them, but you have to give them the exact truth. And the
Mhm.
exact truth with a WordPress website is it needs maintaining, it needs backing up.
Yeah.
It's a fact. It's all you're stating.
And my fees aren't even anywhere near what a lot of other agencies would charge. I'm very reasonable.
But just out of interest, what do you charge if you don't mind sharing? Okay, yeah, that's too low. We need to keep up with the times.
I know. Yeah.
Step by step, how to do this. Be the bad guy. Yeah. 4 of Wands reversed. Stop thinking that everything's fun and you have to be welcoming. You can be a business person. They don't have to like you as their best friend. Yeah. You
Right.
can be nice,
Right.
granted, because otherwise they ain't going to want to work with you. But you don't have to bend over backwards and be their host and their, sort of like,
BFF.
yeah, BFF, your guide to the tour on your vacation. Okay. This is a business. And this is what you do. You would never get a lawyer going, are you okay? Do you like what I'm doing?
Oh, that's too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Good
what you do.
analogy.
This is what you provide. If they want your services from you because they like you, great. If they don't, there's other people out there.
Mm.
So this is what you got to do. You've got to stop treating them like they are your most welcome guests. You are equals. You are two businesses doing a transaction. Yeah. Be nice, granted, but you're never going to be nasty. So it's not really needing saying. But you don't need to bend over backwards for them and create them the like party place and try and like look after them like their mum. And you're a business, act like a
Yeah.
business. Give them great customer service, do your job exceptionally well, which you're going to be doing anyway, but don't sugarcoat stuff like your mum would, and don't like baby them and let them walk over you.
Mm.
You gotta suck it up and be a business and be a hard business person. It's business.
Yeah.
This is your fees. This is how much you charge. You won't do it without you hosting it, and you won't do it unless they're on a maintenance package, because otherwise they're throwing the money away, and you don't want people to throw their money away. If you want to throw your money away, go throw it down the toilet and come, go elsewhere. Yeah?
Yeah.
It's tough love. You can still be nice. You can still give them the best customer service they've ever had. You can still give them the best product they've ever had, but you don't have to bend over backwards for them. You just have to do what's within your boundaries and within what they're paying for, and be a professional business about it. If somebody phones you up at 11 o'clock at night, you don't need to answer.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
You are a business.